Welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, the crazy Big Blend mother-daughter travel team and publishers of Big Blend magazines. You just heard Shelter Me, the title track of the newly reissued first solo album by Jack Russell, the badass vocalist and founding member of the 80s metal legends Great White. The CD is out now through Deadline Music, which is a division of Cleopatra Records. We got to love that, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
You got Cleopatra in there? Yep.
Yep.
Go to cleo-records.com, R-E-C-S, cleo-records.com to get the album. And we're super excited to have Jack join us on the show today. You can keep up with Jack and his band of pirates touring as Jack Russell's Great White. Go to jackrussellsgreatwhiteband.com. Jack, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the show. How are you guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good. You know,
party.
I know. Like, I grew up with your music, man. as a teenager, partying in places I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah,
but
no kidding.
My mother's sitting here. She knows. Unfortunately, she knows all details by now. But I grew up with your music, and it's like such an honor to have you on the show, and just super cool to hear Shelter Me, the album. It's a badass album. And Shelter Me, I love it because you just right there shows, I know we talked a bit about this before we started recording and airing this, that you've got this blues undertone and heavy rock vibes that I don't know if people always hear that. I mean, do you think that? Because I hear like really old school blues, especially in the guitar part at the end there of Shelter Me.
Well, there's always been, blues in my music. I mean, it's what I grew up on. It was oddly enough back in the, the early days when we had we were initially signed to our first record deal with Capitol. I was doing an interview, and I had said something in an interview about, my influences, and I said, yeah, well, I'm influenced by Aerosmith and blah, 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 blah. And Joe Perry got word to me and said, hey, Jack, go back farther. Go back farther than, what you were listening to when you were a teenager. So I took his advice, and I went back. I started listening to artists like Howlin' Wolf and Lightning Hopkins and John Lee Hooker and, people like that. And I really understood where the inspiration for the bands that I loved as a child, as a teenager came from. So, I think anything that you listen to and love somehow finds a way into your music. It's not really necessarily plagiarism per se, but it's just, to borrow a quote from Pink Floyd, all you touch and all you see is all your life will ever be. So it goes with your music. Everything that we hear and like finds its way into our own music, and blues has always has been a big part of my life, I mean, lyrically and just in everyday life, man, I'm living the blues,
I know the blues. Yeah, I think we all are right now.
Oh,
don't start me on that.
Don't even.
But
yeah, right.
Like.
No kidding.
Where are you now? Because I was looking at your touring schedule, which is just like you guys are on the road. You're traveling all over this summer, fall, winter. Again, Jack Russell's GreatWhiteBand.com. See if they're coming to a city near you. It seems like you're going to everyone's city.
Yeah, we're playing a lot. We've got a big tour coming up for Live Nation. It's called Hair Nation Tour. We start out in September with the Nuff's Enough's opening, then the Bullet Boys are in the middle, then we're headlining. And then later on, the fall and the winter, we start with Jack Russell tribute to Led Zeppelin, which is something we did years ago as Great White. We did 3 shows. There's an album called Great Zeppelin, which is was also on Cleopatra, oddly enough. And it was a live concert of nothing but Zeppelin songs. I mean, if you haven't heard it, it's really worth a listen. It's pretty frightening. I mean, there was actually times we were mixing it when I came in the studio, and I fooled myself. I thought they were listening to a song we had to say, and they go, "No, Jack, that's you singing." So we'll be doing that through the winter. We're doing some selected dates for that, just because, and the rest of it, we're just taking the band out and having fun. It's been a great year, and we're excited to come play. And the band is really, really, really smoking. These guys are incredible musicians, and we've been playing together for quite a while. I mean, this is I've had this group of guys together for quite a number of years now, so it's pretty polished, I got to say.
And everyone, if you go to the website, you can meet the band members and see a shark fly by your screen. I love your website. Because
Thank
the guys
you.
are like, it's like the pirates. I love it. I love it because it's, and
Well,
here
asked
we are
me where I was at. Right?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you asked me where I was at.
Like
I never answered that question. Oh, so I never answered your question. You said where I'm at. I'm on my boat right now as we speak. This is where I live. I live on I live on a 54-foot sport fisher.
No way.
Yeah, I live on a boat. I fish. Yeah, that's where I live. I live on a boat. I fish for sharks. I'm a full blown. I mean, I'm a for real pirate. It's not like a joke. This is what I do. It's funny. We're doing this cruise next year in February. Not February. Yeah, next February they're doing the Legends cruise, and I agreed to do it. But with the caveat, they wanted me to go as Jack Russell, not Jack Russell's Great White, and also that I steered the ship at some point. And I said, okay, that's no problem.
Cool.
So yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah.
What I know that born and raised in LA. What was it that got you into like I want to live on a boat and I want to get into the water like?
Well, I remember being like 5 years old, and my father used to take me down sport fishing down in San Diego, which is south of here, a couple 100 miles, and we go off of Mexican waters and fish and I was always the youngest person on the boat, and everybody expected me to be getting tangled up and, causing them problems. But, I was really, really good at it. And the more I hung around the water and the ocean, I was a surfer, and I did all that. I scuba dive, anything, a water ski, anything on or below the water, I'm all over it. So, it's just logical that I would end up living on a boat. This is the fifth boat I've had. And I have no intentions of living on the ground.
Cool.
That's what I was laughing about at the beginning was like because here we are in Tucson right now in the desert, which I consider like a dried up ocean. It is really.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. What?
Yeah. We're like in the dried up beach, and eventually you're going to have your boat here. But.
Oh yeah, exactly right. Yeah, exactly. I'll be parked in your front lawn. My guitarist is from Tucson.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting because of the lightning and everything, and going on your website. I'm going. This is what it looks like here. We just kind of have the water, but in a ravine behind us, as things are going on right now in the monsoon season. But there's a connectivity between the desert and the ocean that
for sure. My parents took us.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely. I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man. I'm going to cut you off.
No, that's okay. I was just saying, my parents took me rock hounding in the desert when I was a little kid, and I found a shark tooth in the desert. And so for me, that was like, okay, now I got to go watch David Attenborough because he explains it to you about how the desert used to be the seabeds, and so we live in the ocean. It's just not wet.
Yeah, it is now.
Right, the sea. Man came from the sea. David Attenborough. I love him. He's such a great voice. Yeah. It is odd. It is strange. This is why I feel so connected. The ocean's always been like my church. I feel right now you're talking about shark's teeth. I'm looking at. I got this frame filled with fossilized shark's teeth that I have hang on one of my walls.
No way.
In my in the head. Yeah. I have a big megalodon tooth about 7 inches long.
No way.
And
cool.
Yeah, 23 million years old. And I just I love that kind of stuff. It's just fascinating. I think one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, and one of the most beautiful places on earth that I've ever been, is a place called Bahia de Los Angeles, and it's on the Sea of Cortez, on the Baja side, and it's right down in the middle of Baja California on the Sea of Cortez. And it is the desert butts right up against this cobalt blue water, and it is so spectacular to see the desert landscape against the ocean. And that's so you have best of both worlds. You have your Tucson-esque, landscape, and then you got the ocean. So it's pretty spectacular.
Mm. And I love it because of the birds. The birds that are like they can hop. They want to hang out on the water, but they hop back to land. It's so neat because they go fishing with people. They're like, I'm going to hang with you, and who's going to get it first? You know what I mean? Or I'm going to wait for you to go get it, and I'm going to steal it, right?
Yeah, I love it.
I'm going to snag it. You know, it's interesting for you when you're on the boat and you're out. You know, is that where you write? Are you doing a lot of writing lately?
You know, yeah, we are writing. Actually, we're always constantly writing. Myself and my guitarist Robbie. It was also from Tucson. I mentioned that, but we do a lot of writing at his house mostly. Sometimes he'll come down here, but I generate a lot of ideas. You know, when I'm down the water. It's just difficult to sit and write down here, especially since Robbie has such severe motion sickness. He gets seasick at the dock. You know what I mean?
No.
So
yeah,
it's a little hard for him to come down and write.
He needs a desert water
It's
to
terrible.
hang out in.
There's got to be a cure for that.
Yeah, it's horrible because he wants to go. You know, wants to go out on the boat so bad, but he gets so violently sick. It's like he can't do it. So I feel terrible for him.
You know what? He needs roller skates.
Yeah.
Roller skates. Yeah.
He needs roller skates.
That'll help. That'll help him. That will help him.
Really?
Well, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting when people get motion sickness. The last time that we went on a boat like one that was in the ocean boat was in San Diego, and we went out towards Santo Tomas in Mexico. You know those islands, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just
yeah, I know the island, of course.
Yeah, we went whale watching.
Yeah.
I think it was with Scripps Birch Aquarium, Scripps Ranch. And we went whale watching, and we were on our way to Mexico, actually, because we used to live out just south of Ensenada and Punta Banda.
Yeah.
And
I know where that's.
But anyway, we
went. Banda. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's great down there.
No way. Yeah, that's we used to live there years ago.
You know where La Fonda's at and all that stuff down there, right? Yeah. I go down to Baja. I go down to Baja all the time.
Oh my gosh, we haven't been for a while, and we used to live there. And we went to go once we moved back. We went to go see our friend, our old neighbor, and we were like, oh, we got to go. And we're like, and things had changed going over the border. And we're like, dude, we're going to be late. The whale watching guy's taking us on this little boat. And it's the diesel that goes in the waves. I'm like, if I hurl once, that's it. Everyone's going to get it. I went down into a little restaurant thingy. Well, it's not. It's like a little kitchen thing. And I'm like, I need it right now. Otherwise, I'm gonna hurl on all of you. And I didn't. I held it because I knew that once you start, it's never.
You're done. Yeah, I got sick once when I was a kid, and I swore I'd never do it again. I've never gotten sick since. I hate it so intensely. I just said I'm never doing that again. I know. I don't have a problem.
That's when I need the song "Shelter Me" for when I go to boat. But
if you practice roller skating,
shelter everybody else from you.
Yeah.
I want to get to the point of "Shelter Me" because from what I know that is about the homeless, right?
Yeah, it's got a lot to do with that, and it's got a lot to do with, the meaning for me may be the different meaning for everybody. I hate to tell people what a song's about because, they might go, well, I thought it was about this, and it used to be really special to me, and now I know that it's about this. I mean, for me, this song is about that, and it's also about just the world in general. Sheltering me from all the stuff that's going on in the world. I mean, it's
right now,
there's so much stuff, there's so many lies, and people trying to deceive each other. Like it says in the line, "A smile can hide like a fear," and it says, sometimes your tears are wasted on those who claim to know the way, like cults. And I mean, there's just so much stuff. I mean, you go on the internet, and it's like, there's conspiracy theories and everything. It's like, this world has gotten so crazy, and that album was released in '96. So compared to then till now, it is like off the charts. Even back then, I was noticing what was going on. And see that originally that song there was a song called "Hey Mister," which is on the album called "Can't Get There From Here," and that song was originally written for that album, "Shelter Me." And it's about homeless. I mean, directly about the homeless people. And the whole record was, geared toward that, initially. And it kind of grew from there. But, yeah, the song "Shelter Me" is definitely, if I had to sum it all up, and it's definitely had to do with the homeless and the plight and not it's like especially today. I mean, think about it. There's so many people that are just one paycheck away from being on the street, and that's scary.
Yep.
We don't. I mean, you look around the streets, you see all these veterans and people that have served our country, and they can't even afford to feed themselves. And what do? We're out there on TV politicking, for people in some country we've never heard of. It's like, wait a minute, why can't we take care of our own people first? We shouldn't have people living on the streets. There's no reason for it. We have the money and the food and we just, I don't understand why, but it shouldn't be that way.
I agree.
It's kind of a punishment for being poor. Like, I grew up in a really poor family on welfare, and I can't tell you how many people that we have talked to on radio shows and just wherever we go that look down on the welfare system.
Oh,
and
yeah,
yes,
you're chastised. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And I'm like, they look at me and they have no idea. And they talk, and I'm like, you have no clue. Yes, there's always going to be people who abuse systems, just like
corporate America
and
of
politicians.
Course.
There's always good and bad in everything. But without that helping hand, you would be homeless. I mean, we spent nights in the car, We went to Texaco bathrooms. Some of them had showers if you were in a trucking stop. So when people talk about, like, as a kid, are you to blame for
look at those bombs or whatever, right, yeah. I mean, it's horrible, the stigma that it has. I mean, if you listen, I don't know if you ever heard this song, Hey Mister, but if you take a listen to it when you get a chance, it's off an album called Can't Get There From Here by Great White. It's the last great album I think the band did. Matter of fact, I think it's the best album the band ever did while it was together. But there's a song called Hey Mister, and it was a song I wrote about the homeless people from their perspective, and just telling people, look, I mean, I'm just a man like you. I mean, I don't want to be here. I'm not trying to, it's like just, you need to walk a mile inside my shoes. Maybe then you'd understand where I'm at. And it's probably one of the most beautiful, heartfelt lyrics I've ever written. And it really talks about that and of how, how the homeless people and people like that, it's not like they want to be there. Some of them are just lazy, they don't want to work. But most of them, there's people they just need a break.
Well, the average
some bad
age,
things, bad times, and
average age of the homeless person in America is between 9 and 11 years old. So go tell me they're drug addicts and alcoholics and don't want to work.
Right, exactly.
Everybody.
That's a statistic I did not know, and that makes things more horrifying than I even imagined.
That
oh,
is it.
God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially after 2008, things escalated, and we did some interviews with specialists, and there's one lady, Diane Nyland, who travels the country and does videos on them, and I'm just like, wow. And I think that communication, we're in the world of social media communication. Well, then maybe we should just have a conversation with each other before we blame and point fingers and decide.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm saying. And thank God for music, because I think that's, again, like, what I love about Shelter Me is it, to me, takes me back to my childhood music, and at the same time takes me further back, and then it takes me into the present. And I think that's when something is really classic. And so tell us about why you decided to reissue it, because this was 1996 that you put it out, right?
Yeah, well, the reason for the reissue, I mean, is really, it was never issued, it was never released anywhere but in Japan. So most people weren't aware of the record to begin with. So, even though it's called a reissue, for me, it's actually a new release, in a lot of places, because, as I said, some people weren't even aware of its existence. And I felt so strongly about the record, and what a beautiful record, and I'm not tooting my own horn here. I don't mean to sound that way. It was, it had a lot more than just me to making the record sound good. But, I felt it really something that needed to be heard. I really wanted to get people, to be able to have a chance to listen to it. So I talked to Brian at Cleopatra, who's been a dear friend for many, many years, and we ultimately decided to re-release or to release that album in the States and elsewhere, and along with the For You album, which is my second solo album. But that's another day, another dollar. But it's just, I think it's really, as far as music goes, it doesn't sound like any particular, like, oh, that sounds like 1984 or 1996, or it's just a group of really cool songs. Good. It's very eclectic.
It feels good.
Yeah,
it just feels
good.
Good.
There's some heavier stuff than I've done with Great White, and there's also some really, like the song Roll with the Tide. It's just really, 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 I don't know, mellow and just kind of dreamy and melancholy, and lyrically, it's some of the best work I've done, I think. And I say, I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm going, oh, I'm so great. I'm just very blessed, and this record was a blessing for me. I was able to put my thoughts down, easier than some other times. It was nice to be able to take something outside of Great White and do something without the confines of what people, would hear with that particular group of musicians. I mean, every time you bake a cake, you have different ingredients. It's going to taste differently, And this one was, the main ingredient was me, So, it was a lot of fun to make, and I still enjoy it.
It's interesting when a musician will go in, from a band, will go in and say, okay, I'm going to do my solo work, because I think that in a band circumstance, you're sharing. It's like it's a marriage. It's a family, and then it's like, I have these things pent up, and I want to do this, and I'm always and it's true. Every album, it's true. There's things going on in the world that direct them. It's music tells the history of the world. All those things. Sure. But there's also that when you make your first studio album, or whether it's studio or not, it's first album as a solo artist, there's something in there where you're like, this is who I am. Like, this is it. This is there's something about that initial record that is always beautiful. That you get
thank
to know.
you. I agree.
Music.
It's very honest, and I think that's, for me, with every record I do, lyrically, musically, I try to be more transparent, because the end goal for me is for people to really know me as a human being, not just who they see in the pictures or who they see on stage or who they think I am, when I'm singing. I want them to know me as a human being, and to either like or dislike that person, not like or dislike me based on what I do for a living. I mean, there's so many people, oh, God, I just love you. Like, well, you don't even know me. How do you know you love me? You might hate me if we hung out, It's and vice versa. There's a lot of people that dislike me that don't know me, and if they did, I think they'd be surprised. So, it's a weird dichotomy,
It's a weird thing, because people just make assumptions all the time, and they add up what they think is the right deal and make a judgment call. And they can be so out to lunch. This is so funny. They really can be out to lunch on something they just really don't know, but they think they know.
Yeah.
And so when you get to do your own thing, I mean, when you're with a band, it's like people in a boardroom in corporate America. Oh, now there's restrictions of some sort. And then when you get to be on your own, a lot of those restrictions go away.
Yeah, well, for me, what it was I had, there wasn't anybody sitting there going, okay, well, let's try this or let's try that. It was, mostly me saying, okay, well, this is how it's going to go, and this is how that's going to go, and this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to do, and this is what you're going to do. And there wasn't anybody going, okay, well, this is my part, and let's try this and let's try that, which is always cool, but that's a band thing. And I really, this was supposed to be a Jack Russell thing, and it came out that way. I'm really, really happy with the way it came out. I'm proud of the record.
I mean, I think everybody should do that.
Well, absolutely. I think, most musicians who haven't, done a solo record or if they given the opportunity, they would, because it's really a good experience. I mean, it's very, very freeing. And like as you said, you don't have the confines of the constraints of sounding like this. Like, okay, well, Great White has a particular sound, so I can't really get away with doing this type of song on a Great White album because people aren't going to understand why would you put this on a Great White album, And for the most part, it's not that far away because, I mean, obviously being one of the main writers in Great White, there's going to be a flavor of that for sure. But I was able to stretch out and do stuff like 24/7, which or Shelter Me, which is not really a Great White style of music. It's just not. And Roll with the Tide is not really very Great White-esque. So it's I don't know. I could talk all day long about the record. I think people when they hear it they'll be surprised. It's I've gotten a lot of great reviews on it, and that's made me smile. But I think overall, the quality of the playing to me was really, I mean, having the musicians I did on the record. I mean, like Myron Grombacher is one of the most amazing drummers I've ever played with. I mean, he used to play with that Pat Benatar. You think, oh, hit me the best shot. What a big deal. But the guy's truly an amazing drummer. I mean, he's one of the best in the world. And I learned a lot from playing with him. And Tim Bogert, who, would best Beck Bogert in peace and play with Cactus. This guy was hanging out with Jimi Hendrix, So, these guys are just amazing musicians. And it was having their talents, enabled me to really come up with a record that was even more special than I would ever hope for.
Let's play 24/7.
Yeah.
I want people to hear this because this is one of the songs on the album for me that just took me back to my childhood in weird ways. That's my own personal thing. I'm just saying. No, just things that just was like, yeah, man, we need this. This was the album, the song on the album. I came out to Nancy. I said, damn it, we need more music like this now.
Yeah.
I feel like we're almost in some ways losing it sometimes. Like we're losing just rock it. Just rock it.
Yeah, now we're definitely losing ground.
Yeah. Well, let's play it, everybody. Here it is.
Like, just put it there.
Yeah, this is one of those songs. We just need to have some of this now, okay? Now. We have it, so we're lucky. Right. Here it is, off of Shelter Me by Jack Russell. Check it out, 24/7.
Baby, thinking that's all I do.
You're listening to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, and you just heard 24/7 from the album Shelter Me, the very first solo album by Jack Russell. Go get it. Go to cleo-records.com. So it's Cleo, by Cleopatra Records, cleo-records.com. And also keep up with Jack Russell and his band of pirates, touring as Jack Russell's Great White. Go to jackrussellsgreatwhiteband.com. They could be coming to a city near you. And I want to go. I don't care if I'm on a boat or not. I want to go.
Paddle out.
I love that,
Paddle.
man. I love 24/7. Like it just that's a speeding ticket song.
Yeah.
When you're on a road trip, you know you're going to get a ticket.
You know.
Do you ever think about speeding tickets when you write that you're going to get people in trouble?
You know what? I haven't had a speeding ticket in so long, and I hate to say it, but generally the police at this age of their life, they were generally fans of mine. And I always, if I get pulled over, I go, "Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I was just on the way back from the studio. We were recording a new album." And that's the first thing out of my mouth, unless the guy's like 150, and he'll go like, "Oh, really? What band are you in?" "Oh, Great White." "Oh my God, I love you guys." "Okay, give you a warning." So I've gotten out of so many tickets by using that, But sometimes of course they don't care, But for the most part, yeah.
But I mean,
yeah, that's a good cruising song, though.
Yeah. Now, Hey Bulldog, you put that on the album, Beatles classic. It's one of my favorite Beatles songs. Why did you decide to do that?
Oddly enough, I was at a place called, the Whiskey in Hollywood one night, and they were doing some benefit concert.
Righty. Yeah.
And I was hanging out. I was sitting down at a table in the front, and I remember Jeff Pilson got up with Jeff Pilson from Dokken and Lynch Mob, whatever. And he got up and was with a group of people, and he played that song. And I was so blown away. And I said, one of these days I'm going to record that song. And this was probably that would have probably been around 1987. So yeah, almost 10 years later, when I decided to do Shelter Me, and I thought I got to do that song. So I brought in a horn section, and they asked me, "Where's our music at? Our sheet music?" I said, "Well, I don't have any." They said, "Well, what do you mean? How do we know what we're going to play?" I go, "I'll tell each of you what your parts are." And they go, "Well, how do you know they're all going to work together?" I go, "Because I can hear them in my head." And they're looking at me like I had lobsters crawling out of my ears, But it all worked, and they're going, "I can't believe you can do that." And I did the same thing with the string section. So it was a lot of fun. I really had a blast. And that song is really cool. I love the horn parts in it. It was a lot of fun to produce that.
It is awesome. I love that. When I heard it was like a surprise, and I was like, wow, because I didn't expect it. It was this unexpected little treasure in there, a little nugget. One of my other favorites, I know you've got some Great White classics, and they're like Save Your Love, but Shine On, there's something about that song that it should be Shine On. It turns me on. I don't know. I love that song. It's one of my favorites.
Thank you. That's one of my favorite songs on the record, if not my favorite. I mean, it's that was a song initially I had written for Great White, but I took it down to show my drummer how to play the drum part, to show Audie, and he couldn't play it. And I said, I got behind this kit, and I actually played the part. And I go, "This is how it goes." And he got behind the kit, and he still couldn't play it. I go, "Forget it. I'll put on my solo album." So oddly enough, and it was kind of funny, that ended up being his ex-wife's favorite song on the record. So every time he heard it, he would get upset.
No, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. But it's a great song. I think we're going to play that one live. We're going to start playing. We have to start playing some of the stuff live, because obviously the record's out, and so that's probably we'll be doing that one and probably Shelter Me. But I love that tune. It's a really it's just full of songs. Like, it's fun,
Yeah. It's just like It's because this is like, to me, hearing this, it just takes me back and forth. Like I say, through generations, but it's all in one album, and there's a strong theme to me of love of all humanity. With going to Shelter Me, love goes through the entire album. And to me, it's just like, God, we just need some old school rock and roll and some bluesy, rock and bluesy, just I miss it. I've been craving it.
It's just we just have
Oh,
to
I
remember
know.
who we actually are.
So Shelter Me, for me, this is a brand new album for me, and I get so excited about new music every time I can hear something new. It's just I get all excited if it's good, you know. And this was just like, man, okay, everybody, speeding tickets galore, but it is about, like, I think, I know it's a reissue from, 96, but at the same time, it is so needed now today in today's music. I mean, how do you think?
Thank you.
When you listen to everything that's going on musically, I just want somebody to just get down and dirty.
Well, the music
who you
today.
are.
Right,
Go ahead.
right. Well, it really is. I mean, it's, to me, music is timeless. I mean, good music is timeless. You can hear something and go, "Wow, that's just a good song." I don't care where it came from, or what
Right.
date it was, or what
Yeah,
year, what decade.
exactly.
If it's cool to like that kind of music or not. I mean, the '80s for music got a bad rap. It was like, I think Eddie Trunk said it best. He said something like, it was the fastest demise of any type of music. One day it was great, and then the next day it was super uncool to even to like it. And it just didn't get a fair
And now
shake.
it's
And now
rock.
people are rediscovering it.
No.
We're playing shows. I look out in the audience. I see 8-year-old kids with, my T-shirts on, hanging down to their knees. They know every single word of my songs I wrote when they weren't even born. So
Nice.
it's neat to see that. And it is an expression of love. I think that's music. It its most, at its barest form, is what it should be about. I mean, it is about love. It's all about that, at least good music.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it transcends, borders. It transcends race. It transcends languages. It's just pure
Transcends
emotion.
bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. It is, it's the human spirit in its most innocent form,
Yeah, I like that. I like that you said that. My first band was called Human Spirit.
Yes.
That's like the funniest
All right,
thing.
well, there you go.
Yeah. When also, going through the album, it is, you got to put it up loud.
Oh yeah.
Faith in You is another one to me that is just goes. There's like some old school in there. Like, it's got some blues vibes, and it's got like Zeppelin-ishy zones in it. It's got like a little. It just keeps wrapping around. That's what's interesting about your music, is that you're taking all these. I don't know. I don't want to say eras of music, but it is. You're taking what's good about music, and it's like a scarf flying through your music and just touching places. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, it is. It's a journey. I mean, I don't want to be just one-dimensional or two-dimensional, or three-dimensional. It needs to transcend that. I mean, music should be felt throughout your whole body, not just heard. It needs to be felt, in your heart, in your soul, because that's where it is. That's why it touches people. That's why you can hear a song and makes you feel like, if I want to feel sad or sorry, I'll put on a song that I know is going to make me cry. Or if I want to feel like, hey, screw you, I'll put on a song that'll make me feel like shine on, like, hey, who cares?
Yes,
Screw you,
I like
I'm out
that.
of here. There's a song for every emotion you can have, and if you can't touch that emotion yourself, you have a tool to bring you there. So that's what I love about music.
I think there's so much going on today, and everything's so much faster, that musicians today are pressured and on one side pressured to bring a whole bunch to the table. On the other side, it's freeing because you guys have had it locked up and waiting for maybe a time to release it where you can say, okay, now we can bring this to the table. And what gets me as an elder of the tribe, we're just doing the same thing we did in the 60s over and over and over again. We're like, hello, are we ever going to learn?
All right.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah.
for you, when you write music, are you, because you said you're talking about, getting on the drum set and things like that. Are you writing lyrics? You're hearing it in your head. Do you play instruments?
I'm not really what you would call your regular musician. When I write songs, I hear them in my head, and I've never sat around and took the time to learn to play guitar because I didn't want to just be one of those guys that sat in the house all day long, perfecting an instrument that I really, don't need. I could always sing, and that's what I wanted to do. So drums are just easy, so I can mess around. I can do a little bit of everything, but not enough. I'm not proficient enough to actually do it, for a living. But so how I write is I'll come up with a melody or a guitar part, and I'll go, I go look, just go da 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 da, and I'll have a melody go over that, and then generally the melody will inspire a lyric. The song for me generally, lyrics will come. The song kind of writes itself. I'll come up with a melody, and then the song will tell me what it's about. It's kind of like painted by numbers in a way. You know what I mean? The picture's already there. You just got to figure out what it is.
Mhm. Yeah, I understand. For me, like as a songwriter, I always had because just being insecure at a very young age, is doing band stuff at a young age. Going in and telling people what to do that were playing the instruments threatened, that was a threat, and some of them were not the nice. It was like, and then to say you need, when you said this is how you do the drum part, and then I just took all my songs and said, screw you, I'm keeping them for myself, and one day I will do something with them because I was like, I'd rather talk to you, Jack, and
right.
Now. But to go to a band and say, this is what I want, it drove me nuts. It was like, especially, just not, I went off and did my guitar, ding, 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 sat there in a coffee shop and went ding, 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 ding with it, sang, and then it was like, well, this is bull. I can't do this. This isn't even, I can't because I'm loud, as you can tell.
She stomps.
I'm a stomper. I'm not ding, ding, ding. And
right.
It drove me nuts.
You're more of a gang, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I need to stop. But to tell the band, hey, this is what I want, it was like going into the piranhas.
It was.
It's like if you even started I have an idea. They're like, oh, we're because
not again.
You're not the guitarist. You're not the lead person. You're not this.
Right. That's like the drummer saying, hey, I wrote a song, right?
Yeah. Just
that's horrifying. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, but actually, things turned out well. Things did turn out well, but I think that's the interesting thing about bands of going in, as a lyricist, as singer, to go in and go, okay, you're going to do this on the drums, and then going, no, I'm taking it now. I'm taking it.
Yeah, I've never had that problem. I mean, I've always been very confident and very self-indulgent, and I mean that in the best of ways. I mean, I like things the way I like them, and if they're not going to be done the way I like them, then we're not going to do it. I mean, it's I know what I want, and I'm not afraid to tell people, hey, this is what I want, and this is what I think is best. And if they're not along the same lines I'm thinking, then I'm going to take my toys and go home.
And I'm going to throw I'm going to throw things too. Just no, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
No. And I'm not one of those guys that have tantrums. But put it this way, I'll let you know if I'm not happy about something.
There you go.
In no uncertain terms.
Yeah. Now, what about someone getting into music now and says, hey, I want to be we've got boy bands and all kinds of things out nowadays.
Run, get a real job. Be a doctor. What are you thinking?
I know, right? Anybody who says, I'm going to get into rock and roll now, what would you say to them? And they said, okay, piece of advice, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to get into rock, and I mean rock, rock music. Seriously, there is such a thing.
I would just say just sell all your possessions and just go live on the street. Just right now, and then don't waste any time. No, you know what? You got to follow your heart. I mean, if that's something that you believe in and you really want to do it, you can't. I mean, I when I was a child, I always knew. I mean, I was gifted with a vision. It sounds really crazy, I know, and some people are going to think I'm more mental than I am. But I was given a vision at the age of 6 on my 6th birthday of what my life was going to be, and I started out wanting to be an archaeologist, and then I put on this Beatles album that my parents got me for my birthday, and I had this vision of my life, and I was going to be a rock star. So from that point on, I changed my whole life, and I started listening to music, and one thing led to another. At 11 years old, I started my first band, and at 17, I started Great White. So it was meant to be, and but I mean, if it was right now, and I was a young child, and I was thinking about getting into a band and making a living out of it, I would certainly, if I didn't know for sure, I would certainly think twice, because unless something changes, we're not going to even have music anymore. It's going to be made by machines, and I mean, it almost is now. I mean, there's no record stores. Everybody wants everything now. The internet has destroyed so much of what we love, I mean, in society in general. I mean, people don't, there's no, if you don't have a following already, it's hard to get people too interested in your music, because it's so, it's like, I want it now, right now. I don't want to go stand in line at a store. I don't want to wait till it comes out. I don't want to go down. Yeah, I want it right now. Okay, I'll just order it on the internet, or I'll download it. I don't want to go I don't want to drive down to a record store, for God's sakes, and have to stand in line and pay for an album. I can just download it for free on my computer.
What's the Black Friday or whatever, Thanksgiving, everybody does that crazy thing. We used to do that for an album coming out, standing outside the album store. Couldn't wait to go get it.
Oh, yeah.
Concert.
That was part of the fun, though. That was, I mean, you we ride our bikes down to the store, we camp out overnight, waiting for be the first one in line to run in and to the display and grab your new release and race home and take a razor blade and gently rip open the shrink wrap and pull it out and read every single liner note. It was like an experience, and now it's just like nobody even cares what's on the liner notes. It's like they're missing the whole point. There's so much more to the music than just what's in the grooves. There's not any more grooves anymore. What am I talking about?
Well, you've got this out on. You've got Shelter Me out on CD now, and you've also put the lyrics inside there, so people get the lyrics on there.
Oh yeah,
so
I always want lyrics in my music. I mean, it's the same booklet that was in '96. I mean, it's important for me to always have the lyrics, because I want people to know, what I'm saying. I don't want somebody to go, oh, you said that there. It's like Rock Me. I don't understand. People, they go, rock me, hold me through the night. I'm going, the lyrics say roll me through the night on the album. I don't understand why they don't get that. It's just, so I make sure that, every record has the lyrics in them. And that's really important to me.
That's cool. It used to be that people didn't want, like, you have to figure it out yourself. Did you hear it right? And then that becomes like a weird ego thing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And music shouldn't have that.
It's like I would never know what any Rolling Stones song was about had they not have lyrics somewhere.
No kidding. If you really want people,
especially when Keith Richards,
if you want people to know what you're saying, you give them everything they need to know what you're saying.
Exactly. You either want to communicate
unless it's
like,
hello, right. Unless it's Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important for me. It's important what I write. You know what I mean? So it's important that people hear what I write. And for some people, maybe the lyrics aren't that important. They're just like zo. It doesn't really matter what I'm saying, because I really don't believe it anyway. It's just a bunch of stuff that rhymes. Then that's one thing. But if you're trying to create a message that's important, then you want people to hear that. And understand what you're trying to say. I mean, for me, that I have a message for the world, not always something super important, but, to me it was important enough to spend, time writing about it, so I want people to understand what I'm saying.
I think it would be fun if you just took a classical piece of music and wrote lyrics to it.
Yeah, right.
That's actually kind of odd now.
What did you say?
I know, like, I remember in music appreciation class in college, they played Afternoon of a Faun, and we weren't allowed to know the name of the piece, and we're supposed to close our eyes, listen to it, and then I said, well, that's a nature song, and the teacher went crazy and like, oh, you're so smart. I'm like, dude, Seriously?
Everybody
No.
has their own thing, though.
Yeah, but
It's like poetry. And...
But it was like, put some lyrics to it. Come on.
Right.
Put some lyrics.
Oh. It's interesting. It's interesting how people get into.
And now it's more more like music depreciation instead of music appreciation. You know.
I think so. No, because you put Shelter Me out, and now we have it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad
No,
about
you know,
it.
that's the cool thing. You know, there's always going to be somebody with some good music out there. I mean, all music has its validity. You know, I mean, whether I like it or not, or you like it, if it's not a cup of tea. You know, I mean, all music is valid to some degree. You know what I mean? Just because I don't like a certain type of music doesn't mean that, you know, that it's not music. But there are things that are out there that I feel like my parents, you know what I mean? What is all that junk you're listening to?
It's the independent. Honestly, it's a lot of the independents that I'm seeing come out with, because they're not a slave to a label. Like, you know, they are
it's not cookie
even
cutter,
if they're working a job, they're able to hone their craft and do exactly what they want and say, you know, I'm doing this, and whether you like it or not. And that's the stuff I'm seeing now that is so good, and I get excited. I think while there's whatever's going on in mainstream radio, no offense to mainstream radio, but I'm really tired of the same songs over and over. It's just like, come on. Just
Hotel
stop
California.
It. God, just stop it.
I know.
But
well,
now,
that's it. I mean, there is no, you know, the problem is there's no new rock and roll, you know, that is the kind of music that we grew up on, and the kind of music that, you know, I still make, you know, and people, there's no outlet for that, you know. There is, but very few and far between. There's Los Angeles hasn't had a radio station for decades. I mean, it's just here's another song about Led Zeppelin. If I hear Black Dog one more time, I'm going to hang myself.
Exactly,
you know, it's
right?
like,
how can we start?
Not that it's a bad song, but it's like, come on.
Yeah. And the Eagles are on the hate list. No offense to the Eagles, I don't hate them.
Yeah,
but like Hotel California.
It's like, no. Oh yeah.
Oh,
it's like no,
I know, I can't take
over
it easy.
and over and over and over and over and over and over.
But there's new stuff out there, and that's where I want to see that.
But why don't they go get the new stuff? I don't get it.
Well, there is new stuff out there. It's hard for them because the internet is this like big long. Let's go to the fish. It's like this big school of fish swimming out there, and you know this is why we, you know, there's a marketing world, which is in PR world, that is needed, because how do you get out of the school of fish and say, look at me, I'm a shark? At this point, the internet, it's like it's a wide, crazy school of fish. It is.
But dude,
and how do you jump out?
You offer something new and fresh.
You could have the most badass music, but if no one hears it, no one's going to know.
But I don't. The radio.
Oh, exactly.
Offer something new.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
There's enough. We
interview. There's no. Yeah.
We interview musicians all the time with great music. There's no excuse. I'm sorry. Even the advertisers, please.
Yeah.
Get a grip.
Yeah.
People want something new.
Yeah. And everybody's hung on this old side. And the thing about music is it's about changing your mind, looking at things in a different way. It's a language. It'll take you places, a journey. That's what music is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And when radio stations don't take that journey, now it's like, here's the Beatles channel, here's the Bob Dylan. I love them all.
They're just going around in circles. They're just going around in circles. You know, I mean, you're never going anywhere. It's just, there's Big Ben, there's Parliament, there's Big Ben, there's Parliament, there's Big Ben. You know, we're not going anywhere. It's just we're stuck in this musical rut. You know, it is Groundhog Day, exactly. And you know, it's unfortunate because there are bands out there that are really making good music still. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This drives me crazy.
Okay, so last question. I know you've toured the world. Is there a place that you have not performed in that you want to be playing in?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go to Australia and play. I've never had a chance to go down there. I always wanted to go. I want to go before the Great Barrier Reef's completely dead. You know?
Oh yeah, because of the water. Now, Australia. Now, I say all this. Go to Australia. You must go, because when I grew up in South Africa, when I knew your music, like as a kid, like when I was saying, I grew up with your music. It was in South Africa. It was big. you were really big in South Africa, and South Africa and Australia and England kind of had some musical connection in some marketing way or whatever. But Great White was big. I mean, I don't want to tell you some of the things that happened in clubs, but it did happen. And so Australia to me is really fascinating in music and in movies. Their movies are weird.
Yeah, they
cool.
are.
It's cool weird. But have you been to South Africa ever?
No, I haven't, and that's one of the places I'd love to go. I'd love to go to the Cape. I mean, I go to Durban. I mean, there's so many places I want to go, and you know, where there's a lot of sharks. You know what I mean? Like my next trip, I want to go to Guadalupe Island. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Cape,
yeah,
absolutely.
You'll get.
No, there's some big sharks down there. Absolutely, there's some big, bull sharks and. Oh yeah.
There's great.
Oh, I know. Trust me,
white.
I know all about them. There's a ton of them out here in our Santa Monica Bay. They're all over the place. I got a video of a friend of mine just the other day, 5 miles out. One of them hit his boat.
Oh.
So yeah, there's a lot of them out here.
Oh wow! Do you ever dive?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh. Cool.
Yeah, I got
my
boat. This boat. I mean, this boat's it's a big boat. It's a sport fisher. I mean, it's you know, it's twin diesel. It's 54 feet. It's you know, it's it's definitely a fishing diving boat. That's what it's for.
It's like David Crosby in the Mayan. He had the big boat of that. You know? Well, I won't go into that whole story. But listen, thank you so much for joining us, Jack. It's been a total pleasure having you on the show and
You're
talking
very
with you.
welcome.
And man, and we love Shelter Me. Everyone go get it. Again, cleo-records.com for Cleo Records. Go get it. Also, keep up with Jack Russell and his bands of pirates. I love that, right? Her.
I love it too.
I know. Go to JackRussellsGreatWhiteBand.com and keep up with them. And we gotta play Shine On, don't you think? That's the song today. We gotta play that.
Perfect.
We gotta play that. We got to close with that.
Perfect.
I got to thank our sponsor, National Parks Arts Foundation. You guys rock. They create unique artist in residence programs in park units within the National Park Service. So if you're a musician, an artist, a writer, a poet, a filmmaker, a military veteran who is in that too, in the arts, you could submit your work you could submit your resume and everything to be accepted into staying in a national park unit for a month.
Cool,
and creating your art. And it's amazing. You get to do a workshop or a performance. Just go to nationalparksartsfoundation.org. And every first Friday, we do an interview with an artist that's in residence in a national park. From Gettysburg to Hawaii volcanoes, Dry Tortugas, just saying, Jack, Dry Tortugas Island that is calling you.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Tortuga.
You need to go.
Isla Tiburon. Tiburon.
There it is.
Which means
You gotta go. But everyone, don't forget, Big Blend Radio airs Sunday through Friday. You go to BigBlendRadio.com and you'll see our schedule, and you can listen as shows go live and on demand. All the podcast outlets are there. So BigBlendRadio.com. Thank you, Jack. Here it is.
Thank
Shine
you. You
on
guys are
again.
great. Keep cranking it.
You too. And listen, when you see those sharks, just go, "Hi, Sharky, Sharky," from Nancy and Lisa.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Will do.
They'll be like, "Here's your hand. Bye." Here it is. Everyone, shine on.